If you want to get in contact with me, the best way to do it is on Instagram. If you just want to say what up, if you want to tell me you love my videos, you can also tell me that you hate my videos, but the best way to do that is on Instagram. Peace, y'all. Jonny Fastlane here. So, young Dolph gets arrested. Well, put in handcuffs. Again. And A$AP Rocky is going back to Sweden. Plus, Kanye West confirms, just as I said, he is running for president in 2024. Let's talk hip-hop. Alright, so this is the second time within a month that young Dolph ends up getting pulled out of his car and put in handcuffs in Atlanta, right? And young Dolph is not from Atlanta. I don't know if he has a house there or if, he's just there doing shows and, interviews and stuff like that. But as you can see here, they have him outside of his yellow Lamborghini on his knees in handcuffs, ready to take a nigga to jail, right? And I just really feel like he's being racially profiled at this point, right? So last month he was riding around. It was him and 3 of his boys. They were in the car, right? And they were in a army green Jeep Wrangler. And basically the cops said that they pulled him over because they thought that they saw that he didn't have a seatbelt on, right? He ended up having a seatbelt on though. And then they say that they pulled them all out of the car and searched them because they thought they smelled weed, right? They didn't smell no weed. Nobody had weed on them, but that gives them probable cause to search your vehicle if they say, oh, I think I smell marijuana. Well, especially in the state of Georgia, right? Because if you're in New York or Cali or somewhere where medical marijuana is legal, but in Cali, even recreational marijuana is legal. So if they smell weed, so what? That doesn't give them, probable cause to search your car. But in Georgia, if a small little nugget of weed that you have will get you in handcuffs. So that's what they use. Oh, I smell weed on the guy, right? And they searched young Dolph, right? So that was a month ago. That happened. They searched him and they had to let him go even though they had him in handcuffs, right? Yesterday, the same thing, right? Young Dolph gets pulled over. They said they smelled some weed. They pulled him out the car. They're searching the yellow Lamborghini. He's on his knees this bullshit again. They tried their hardest. They brought the dogs and everything, right? And then they had to let young Dolph go, right? With a little ticket or a citation or whatever the case may be, right? Maybe for not wearing a seatbelt or speeding or whatever, but they didn't even say what the citation was for because it was probably some trumped up charges, right? Which is crazy, right? Look, man, at this point, young Dolph is being profiled. He's a young, dark-skinned, man riding around Atlanta in, brand new cars. He's looking like he got chains on. He's looking like, he shouldn't have any of this money. And it's Atlanta, right? And there's a lot of dope dealers in Atlanta. So they're like, there's one. They probably don't even think that it's young Dolph. They probably don't even know what young Dolph looks like. And there's oh, there's a dope dealer. And they pull him over thinking that they're going to get a lick or something like that. The police, I mean. And it ends up being young Dolph. And it's why do y'all keep harassing me, right? And just... Thank God, man, young Dolph always be riding clean. I mean, he ain't even have a blunt in the car, right? Thank God he's riding clean, right? But this is crazy, man. It kind of reminds me of the old days back in New York when we used to have a stop and frisk where a police officer, even if you're walking down the street, you ain't got to be in a car. If you're walking down the street and a cop is like, oh, you look like a gangster. You have a red flag on. Come here. They could search you. They could run you for warrants, everything like that. Just because you're walking down the block, stop and frisk, right? So they got rid of all that in New York and you can't do that anymore, but that's crazy. And what they're doing to young Dolph is very similar, or to me it is anyway, to what they used to do here in New York, man. But shout out to young Dolph and thank God he's okay, man. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments. So I don't know what the hell is up with A$AP Rocky, right? But if I was him, I would never go back to Sweden again. You don't have to go back to Sweden. For you, Sweden doesn't exist, right? Why can't you just be like, fuck Sweden, right? So the whole situation is, right, that y'all remember a couple of months ago, A$AP Rocky got locked up in Sweden because he had a fight on the street, right? Him and the security guards, they got into a fight with a couple of fans, right? And these fans just wanted to take a picture or something like that. Then they got upset because A$AP Rocky didn't want to take the picture. Then one of the fans threw their headphones at A$AP Rocky's security guard. Then A$AP Rocky actually went to the camera and was like, hey, we do not want to fight these guys. We do not want to go to jail. A$AP Rocky said that. prior to fighting those guys and then going to jail, right? They kept on egging him on and kind of antagonizing A$AP Rocky and his security guards, and they ended up fighting on the street, right? A$AP Rocky gets locked up. At first, reports were coming out that he's going to do 6 years in prison in a Swedish jail. Then reports came out he was going to do 2 years in prison in a Swedish jail, right? He was locked up for like 3 weeks straight, and everybody was like, free A$AP Rocky. And even Donald Trump said, you know, the Prime Minister of Sweden better free A$AP Rocky, right? And all that happened, right? So finally they freed A$AP Rocky and they let him come home. A$AP Rocky didn't waste no time. He was on a plane within like 6 hours of getting out of jail, right? Before his sentence even came down, right? But the people in Sweden, they did find him guilty, but they gave him time served. So basically you did 3 months in jail. 3 weeks in jail, and that's it, right? And all that's cool. So if I were A$AP Rocky, right, I'll travel across overseas. Yeah, I'm going to London, right? I'm going to Paris. I'm going to France. I'll go to the Caribbean or wherever, but I'll go to Australia, right? But I am not going to go to Sweden, right? But this fool is going back to Sweden on December 11th, right? For a show that, you know, they booked him for, which is crazy. So he's like, yeah, you know, we kind of patched up everything. His supporters and his fans in Sweden, they really want to see him, and so he's gonna get on a plane and go back over there, right? For the bag, right? And I guess maybe his record label was like, yo, A$AP, we got this bag that we want you to get in Sweden, and you should go get it, right? And so if I was A$AP Rocky, I would decline. I'd be like, you know what, that sounds good and everything, but I can't really do that, right? And I think y'all know why. But A$AP Rocky's like, fuck it, yeah, I'll go, right? And then to me, that just kind of helps me understand A$AP Rocky's mentality, or what type of person that he is, right? So A$AP Rocky, it seems like to me, will just put the dollar in front of everything, right? And I'm not, you know, trying to chastise him or calling it a character flaw or anything like that, but I mean, it is what it is, right? So remember when A$AP Rocky was asked about like Mike Brown and Ferguson and everything like that, and then he was like, I don't give a fuck about no Ferguson. I'm in London, I'm in Soho, I'm in these white bitches' panties, right? When he was saying all that, and everybody was kind of upset and outraged about that, right? And then so when he did get arrested in Sweden, a lot of people were using that same rhetoric to him then. Like, I don't give a fuck about A$AP Rocky. I'm over here in America. He's in Sweden. Let him deal with that, right? And I think that A$AP Rocky still kind of has that same mentality, because he didn't want to upset the people that he does business with by supporting a, you know, Black Lives Matter movement, or saying something bad about, you know, the police in Ferguson or whatever the case may be, because he is focused on his bottom line, which is that dollar, right? So he is almost even putting himself in harm's way, right? By going back to Sweden just so that he could get that bottom line again, which is that dollar, right? Which is crazy and it's ill to me, right? It shows me that you have a price, right? And then again, man, I guess maybe in Sweden, they probably given him a bigger bag than what he would have got here, right? So while Travis Scott is headlining all kinds of festivals here in the US, right? A$AP Rocky hasn't really headlined anything in that long of a time, right? And that show that he's going to Sweden for, he's headlining it, right? And a lot of times overseas, they like a lot of music that are classic music and music that came out a little while ago, right? We're here in America, we're always on to the next thing, the new thing. What's the new song? What's the new music? Who's the new artist, right? And what have you done for me lately in hip hop, right? And to be honest with you, A$AP Ferg is coming out with hits still, right? But A$AP Rocky hasn't had a hit since that song with 2 Chainz and Kendrick Lamar. I love bad bitches, I'm a fucking problem, right? When Kendrick Lamar was like, I'm Kendrick Lamar, aka a Benz is to me just a car. And that was like back in 2012. That was 7 years ago now. Like off the top of my head, that's the last hit. I know A$AP Rocky has come out with music, right? But I'm talking about the last hit that A$AP Rocky has had, right? Something that's been on the charts that A$AP Rocky has had was like 7 damn years ago. So I see, right? But hey, man, I guess that's him, right? Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments down below.
When I run for president in 2024, we're going to definitely know what y'all laughing at.
Kanye West is doing an interview, another interview, right? And they are talking to him about like design and fashion and stuff, right? And then he goes off on a rant or like a tangent like he does quite often, and he talks about, you know, when he's gonna run for president in 2024, right? And I know y'all remember when I came out with that video and I'm like, yo, Kanye is running for president in 2024. I see it and here's why, right? So just really quick, I'm like, okay, so his first lady, Kim K, is getting a lot of people out of jail, right? Who are non-violent offenders. That's something that a first lady would do, right? Kanye has said that he's not doing any kind of secular music. He's not even really cursing anymore in his music or on interviews like that, right? He's also saying that he took the TVs out of his kids' room. He's being a little bit more strict, right? And he's constantly trying to sway black people to not vote Democrat and just vote for the right candidate, even if that candidate must be a Republican, because I think Kanye is going to run on the Republican card. And last but not least, he's buddies with Donald Trump and Donald Trump Jr. because he's going to want that cosign from a previous president once he decides to run for president in 2024. He's not going to do it in 2020, which is next year, because Donald Trump is going to go for a re-election and he doesn't want to run against Donald Trump. He wants Donald Trump to be his homeboy and to be his buddy. So he's going to wait 5 years for that, right? And by then, of course, he'll have a whole track record behind him where he can say, yo, 2 years ago I opened that school, 3 years ago I employed these people, 4 years ago I gave this to charity, or whatever the case may be. So that gives him a good amount of time for us to forget about him beefing with Drake, right? And it's crazy because that's exactly what he's talking about. He's saying that by 2024, when he runs for president, that it won't even be a run that he's gonna do. He's gonna walk for president, he said. This is gonna be easy to him because y'all are gonna see how many things he's done up until then, right? So he literally just confirmed what I speculated about maybe 2 weeks ago, right? When he says it though, the whole audience just start busting out laughing because they think that he's full of shit, right? But he could really see himself president. Again, two people really inspired Kanye West to become president, or to want to become president, right? Those two people are Barack Obama and Donald Trump, right? The reason why Barack Obama inspired him is because Barack Obama is from Chicago, just like Kanye is. Barack Obama is black, just like Kanye is, right? That's where that ends, right? But Kanye can see himself in Donald Trump, though, a lot. Model wife, came from show business, already a celebrity that jumped into politics, never was a mayor, doesn't have any, like, you know, a law degree, anything like that, doesn't have any track record of even being a councilman on anything like that. You just jump from being a celebrity to being a president, right? Off of your popularity, right? Donald Trump is very frank in what he says all the time. So is Kanye West. They say whatever is on their mind, right? So Kanye West sees a lot of himself in Donald Trump and a little bit of himself in Barack Obama. So he's like, yes, I can do this. I can run for president, right? He says it. Everybody in the audience is laughing. He's like, what y'all laughing at? Straight dead face, right? But he is dead ass serious. They don't think he's serious. I been knew that he was serious about running for president because I could tell, right? But this whole situation is crazy, yo. And I mean, I guess we're just along for the ride at this point, right? It's a 5-year ride from 2019 to 2024. And between here and now, y'all will see what Kanye West is going to be doing, right? So it's bugged out, but hey, man, that's what's going on, yo. Let me know what y'all think about this and everything else in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Follow me at Jonny Fastlane on Instagram, and y'all already know what to do. Peace.